After many years of staying quiet, Lenny Kravitz finally opened up about his relationship with his ex-wife Lisa Bonet. What he shared was not something people expected. Instead of anger or regret, his words were filled with respect, honesty, and surprising truths. His confession wasn't like a typical post-divorce statement, it was emotional, raw, and very real. He gave the world a rare look into a relationship that had gone through love, separation, and lasting friendship. So, what really happened between them, and why is Lenny talking about it now? It all started with a moment that seemed small at the time but would later become the beginning of something deeply meaningful. In 1985, Lenny Kravitz, still an aspiring musician using the name Romeo Blue, had an unexpected meeting with Lisa Bonet backstage at a New Edition concert. Lisa, already a popular television star thanks to her role on The Cosby Show, was someone Lenny immediately noticed. He was drawn to her instantly, feeling a mix of nervous excitement and admiration. According to Lenny, his heart was racing, and he didn't know what to say. When he finally did speak, he complimented her hair, a line he later admitted was awkward and probably one of the worst he'd ever used. But somehow, despite the nervous start, something clicked between them. Lenny wrote in his memoir that time seemed to freeze during that elevator encounter. Even though not many words were exchanged, the energy between them was strong and unforgettable. He described it as magnetism, something rare that neither of them could explain. It wasn't just physical attraction, it was something deeper. That short meeting would later grow into a connection so powerful it would last through not just love and marriage, but also divorce, distance, and years apart. At the time, Lenny was still trying to figure out who he really was. He hadn't fully embraced his true identity yet and was hiding behind a stage name. Meeting Lisa marked the beginning of a big change in his life. It was through her that he started discovering his real self. Their relationship didn't start immediately after that first meeting, though. They became friends first. Lisa, being kind and supportive, even let Lenny crash on her couch while he was working to build his music career. Their friendship grew slowly and naturally. They spent more time together and shared deep conversations. Lenny admired Lisa not just for her beauty but also for her soul. She inspired him in ways no one else had before. She encouraged him to be himself and to embrace his creativity. It wasn't just about being in love, it was about helping each other grow. One night, while they were working in a recording studio, something simple happened that changed everything. Lisa tripped and fell into Lenny's arms, and in that moment, everything shifted. They kissed, and from then on, their relationship took a romantic turn. From that point on, their bond became stronger and more intense. Their connection was full of chemistry, but it also had a spiritual and emotional depth that made it unique. Lenny often described this period of his life as magical. He had finally found someone who accepted him for who he truly was. Together, they created their own little world, one filled with music, love, fashion, and freedom. They didn't follow society's rules, they made their own. On Lisa's 20th birthday, November 16, 1987, they decided to get married. It wasn't a big, flashy wedding. Instead, they eloped to Las Vegas and got married at a small chapel. It was simple, but it was exactly what they wanted. At that time, Lisa was more famous than Lenny, and people would often refer to him as Mr. Bonet. Lenny never minded this. In fact, he once said he felt lucky to be married to someone so amazing, both inside and out. But even during those happy times, his focus was on music, and sometimes that distracted him from other things. Their relationship moved quickly. Not long after they got married, they welcomed their daughter, Zoë Kravitz, into the world on December 1, 1988. Her birth brought even more love into their lives. She became the center of their world, the living proof of their love. Lenny said she was conceived during a romantic trip to the Bahamas, where they lived freely and in the moment, without needing material things. Lisa later said that becoming a mother changed her life completely. It gave her a reason to grow, to become a better person, and to break old habits she didn't want to pass on to her child. As a family, they were unique. They didn't live the traditional Hollywood lifestyle. Instead, they focused on love, peace, creativity, and living true to themselves. Lenny remembers those days as joyful and full of self-expression. Zoë grew up in an environment surrounded by art, music, and authenticity. And as she got older, she followed in her parents' footsteps, becoming an actress, model, and musician herself. More importantly, she remained the bond that tied her parents together even after their romantic relationship ended. Even though their marriage didn't last forever, their bond did. They separated in 1991 and finalized their divorce in 1993. The breakup was painful, especially for Lenny. He later admitted that he was heartbroken and that the emotional pain affected every part of his life. He couldn't sleep and felt like a zombie, moving through life in a daze. But instead of letting the pain destroy him, he turned it into music. His album Mama Said came out in 1991, and it reflected the heartbreak he was going through. The hit song It Ain't Over Till It's Over was dedicated to Lisa, and through those lyrics, he poured out everything he was feeling. In interviews around that time, Lenny was very open about how much he still loved her. He said that even though they had separated, his feelings for her hadn't gone away. However, neither of them ever publicly explained exactly why they broke up. Still, it's clear that their careers and lifestyles put a lot of pressure on the relationship. Lenny's music career was taking off, which meant more time spent traveling and promoting his work. That distance may have made things harder. Lenny was also very young when they got married, just 27, and still figuring out who he was. He later admitted that he wasn't fully ready for marriage and all the responsibilities that came with it. He was dealing with personal losses, including deaths in his family, and the emotional weight of all that was too much. He said he went into a kind of fog, where he didn't know which direction to go. His honesty about this time in his life shows that he understands how his emotional state affected their relationship. After the divorce, both of them tried to move forward while still raising their daughter together. Lisa moved to Topanga Canyon, California, a peaceful place far from the chaos of Hollywood. She wanted to raise Zoe in a natural, grounded environment. Even though they were no longer together, both parents remained deeply involved in Zoe's life. They co-parented in a way that was respectful and filled with love. Over time, this shared commitment to their daughter helped them rebuild a different kind of relationship, a friendship. Years later, when Lenny finally decided to talk openly about his relationship with Lisa, it surprised many people. But what really stood out was the way he spoke, with nothing but admiration and love. He talked about how their connection never really ended, even though their marriage did. He saw Lisa as someone who had shaped his life, his identity, and his music. She had helped him become the man he is today, and for that, he would always be grateful. Lenny's decision to speak out wasn't about reopening old wounds. Instead, it was about honoring the past, sharing the truth, and showing that not all relationships that end in divorce have to be sad or bitter. He showed the world that love can take many forms and that sometimes the most beautiful connections continue even after the romantic part is over. Now, as Zoe shines in her own career, she continues to be the living bridge between her parents. She is the symbol of their love, their growth, and their lasting friendship. Through her, Lenny and Lisa remain part of each other's lives in a way that goes far beyond what most people imagine after a divorce. Lenny's story isn't just about heartbreak, it's about transformation, acceptance, and deep emotional growth. His honesty reminds us that it's okay to look back on past relationships with love, even if they didn't last. It shows that some connections never truly fade, and that healing doesn't always mean forgetting. Sometimes, it means remembering with kindness and gratitude. Zoe had a childhood that was different from most. Instead of spending time in front of the television, she explored nature and used her imagination. This was something her mother, Lisa Bonet, strongly believed in. Later, Zoe mentioned in interviews that her mother's decisions were always focused on giving her a peaceful and stable life, even when things were changing in their personal world. After the divorce, Lenny Kravitz went through a period of deep self-reflection. The loss of his family unit pushed him to look inward and face emotional struggles, some of which he believed he had inherited from his own father. Though this time was difficult, it eventually helped him grow as a person. Physical distance made things even harder. While Lisa and Zoe stayed in California, Lenny's music career kept him traveling around the world. This made it more challenging to maintain close relationships after the divorce. Still, something unexpected happened. Rather than letting anger or blame take over, Lenny and Lisa slowly transformed their relationship. When Zoe turned 11, she moved in with her father in Miami. This gave both parents important time to build deeper connections with their daughter. It also helped Lenny slow down and recenter his life during a time of great professional success. He admitted that having Zoe with him made him realize he had to make some serious changes in how he lived. What began as an effort to co-parent effectively slowly became a genuine friendship. In fact, Lenny said in a 2013 interview that he and Lisa had become best friends, which was also how their relationship had started in the beginning. This painful chapter in their lives would eventually give a deeper meaning to the things Lenny shared later on, especially when he finally opened up about how much their bond still meant to him. Instead of letting the divorce break them, they used it to reshape their connection into something that still mattered deeply. Before Lenny Kravitz ever publicly shared his feelings in interviews, he was already revealing them through his music. His songs over the years had been quietly telling the story of his love and heartbreak. Music has always been his way of expressing his emotions, and his relationship with Lisa Bonet left a big mark on his creative work. His first album, Let Love Rule, released in 1989 while they were still married, showed their shared hope and spiritual connection. The title track spoke about love defeating division, something that clearly mirrored their relationship. Lisa even helped him write 2 songs on that album, making it a true team effort. As their marriage started to fall apart, Lenny turned his feelings into music once again. His 1991 album Memoir Said reflected the pain he was going through. The lead single, It Ain't Over Till It's Over, was written directly about Lisa. The song shared both his heartbreak and his hope that their relationship might not be over. It became one of his biggest hits, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Its message of holding on to love struck a chord with people who had experienced similar heartache. Other songs from that period, like Stand By My Woman and What Goes Around Comes Around, also touched on the struggles and emotions tied to his relationship with Lisa. His music during those years acted like a diary, recording both the highs and the lows. Even in his later albums, pieces of his connection with Lisa can still be heard. While Lenny had other relationships, the one with Lisa remained the most impactful. Through his songs, he transformed personal experiences into emotions that his listeners could relate to: love, pain, and change. Every melody, every lyric, was like a breadcrumb leading back to a bond that didn't disappear but simply changed its form. So, when Lenny finally opened up in interviews about what Lisa meant to him, it surprised many people. But for those who had really been listening to his music, the signs were always there. One of the most surprising things Lenny revealed was how close he had become with Lisa Bonet's new family. After Lisa met actor Jason Momoa in 2005 at a jazz club in Los Angeles, a new chapter began. She and Jason would go on to have 2 children together, Lola in 2007 and Nakoa Wolf in 2008, before marrying in secret in 2017. What made this situation so rare was how Lenny responded. Instead of keeping his distance or seeing Jason as competition, he welcomed him with open arms. He even described his relationship with Lisa as being like brother and sister. He said he loved Jason, that Jason loved Zoe, and that he loved Lisa and Jason's kids. They all became part of one big family. The friendship between Lenny and Jason became so real that Lenny later called him like a brother. He admitted that it took effort to build such a bond, but the result was a loving, blended family that broke all the usual expectations. Their close connection showed up in public, too. In 2015, Lenny, Lisa, and Zoe all went to the Met Gala together, and Lenny posted a photo of them with the simple caption, "Family." Even when Lisa and Jason announced their separation in 2022, the family bonds stayed strong. When Lenny posted a birthday message to Lisa later that year, Jason responded with heart emojis, showing that the emotional ties between them were still intact. After years of being private about his relationship with Lisa, Lenny Kravitz finally opened up more fully. As he promoted his new album Blue Electric Light and his memoir Let Love Rule, he spoke more honestly about what made his connection with Lisa so special. He said that everything he is today is because of what they experienced together. He wasn't just politely referring to his ex-wife, he was sharing how deeply she had shaped his life and identity. For Lenny, Lisa isn't just someone from his past. She's a lasting part of his journey, someone who still matters deeply. He explained that love never really leaves, it just has to find a new way to live and grow. Perhaps the most powerful thing he said was, "She is a part of my life that will never leave my heart, my soul, or my spirit." These words go beyond labels like ex-wife or friend. They reveal a bond that has become something entirely its own, different from romance, but no less important. What makes his recent openness so touching is that he doesn't try to hide how much he still cares. He isn't trying to fit into society's expectations about how exes should act. Instead, he honors the love they once had and the deep connection they still share. By doing so, he challenges others to rethink how relationships can continue in new and meaningful ways even after divorce. Their story shows that it's possible to end a marriage without ending the love and respect between two people. Lenny and Lisa chose not to become strangers or bitter co-parents. They chose to remain close, honest, and supportive of each other. In his memoir and interviews, Lenny speaks about Lisa with deep respect. He talks about how much she meant to him then and how much she still means to him now. The bond they've built after their romantic relationship ended is something rare and inspiring. As they continue their separate lives, Lenny and Lisa leave behind a powerful example. Their relationship shows that love doesn't have to fit into a box or follow traditional rules. Just because a marriage ends doesn't mean the connection has to die. Love can change shape, grow in new directions, and still remain strong. For their daughter Zoe, this has meant growing up in a family where respect and unity were more important than resentment or anger. It likely gave her a strong foundation that helped her succeed in her own life. The blended family they've created, bringing together Lisa, Lenny, Jason, and all their children, shows what family can really mean. It's not just about marriage or blood. It's about love, support, and being there for each other. For fans, their story offers hope in a world where divorces often turn into battles. Lenny and Lisa show that it doesn't have to be that way. Their journey proves that endings can also be new beginnings and that the love you once shared can still find new forms. After their divorce, Lenny Kravitz spoke openly for the first time about his deep connection with Lisa Bonet, and it amazed everyone. Their story reminds us that love's real strength isn't in lasting forever in one form, but in its ability to change and continue in ways that still matter deeply.